Hi, my name is Jo Hadley. This is my podcast, Being a Human Lighthouse. As you may know, I am a somatic therapist and counsellor, former physiotherapist, and my passion is to know what true health is, to understand what the meaning of life and our purpose in it has always been an interest of mine. And these questions have taken me down interesting paths. I thought true health would be just visualization of outcomes of health, of good nutrition, good exercise, improved mindset. But I understand there's a lot more to it than that. A passion of mine has also been how the energies and emotions of not only what's happened in our own lives haven't been processed, but have been handed down to us through ancestors and even picked up collectively through the collective traumas and patterns, and how we can heal from those once we've recognized how they're influencing our lives. That's been my particular interest these days, and what I'm doing with my online business at helping people discover their own inner wisdom and connecting to all that is, tuning into themselves so they can be guided to make better choices, so they can tune into their own wisdom to know what's the best diet for them, what's the best exercise for them, what situation or work would suit them best. Because when we're operating from our highest, a place of peace, love, trust, safety, we not only make better choices, but we also tend to assist other people. We tend to be of greater service. And when we are of great service, we tend to feel the most joy and peace. And this often correlates to better health. This week, I'm just talking a little bit about how I've noticed a pattern that I had for many years. And again, we all have them. I believe that we're evolving as a human species we're always evolving, expanding ever further. And the next stage of evolution is us recognizing how connected we are with each other via energy. We're not purely physical. We actually pick up energetically because we're a bunch of biofields interacting. It's how babies interact with their mothers. It's how a lot of our patterns get communicated, is this bioelectric communication between us all. And there's a lot of interesting work in science about this. Many great books have been written. Many people talk about it. I'm interested in not so much just talking about the science and research, but just talking about how to apply this work. Because it is really easy to read and it makes a lot of sense when we read, but how do we apply it? Because that's how we change our life. It's one thing to know that food is good for us, but we actually have to eat it. It's one thing to know that exercise is good for it, but we actually have to do it ourselves for it to be of any use. Just knowing it intellectually doesn't change much. It's definitely a start. So things like power of awareness, consciousness, and just being aware of the fact that we are whole. If we were completely whole and operating from our true self, our true essence, our complete 100% potential, we'd be like a little ball of light energy. We would see everything about ourselves. But we're often not completely a sphere of light. We're often mixes of dark, and dark is just an absence of light. But there's areas of absence of light within this sphere. The more absence of light, the more unconscious we are, the more disconnected we are from ourselves. Often the more issues and patterns we have to deal with. The more we become aware of these areas of darkness by building on this inner light and consciousness within ourselves, we then integrate these places and become more whole, more uniquely ourselves. I use the analogy of the ball of light because it's easy to understand. I think everyone's seen the yin and yang symbol. It's a whole, but there's two equal parts to it. And within each of those parts is the opposite. One is black, one is white. And in the middle of the white, there is a black dot. Within the middle of the black, there is a white dot, meaning there's always a little bit of the other in each part. But together, it forms the whole. It's another way of looking at it. But if you want to look at it in terms of a human and a person, I look at it as the sphere of light. Whereas when we are completely light and we always feel light and unburdened when we're letting go of things, when we're feeling happy and joyful. There is no such thing as dark, it's just an absence of light. So often in spiritual terms, I'll talk about light and dark. So the sphere of light is a really good analogy for me. And the more we can recognize and become conscious of the areas of darkness, which is our unconscious, they're all the patterns and programs that we've picked up from ancestors, from our society, from unprocessed things that happen to us, often when we're young. And these we often have been trained to run away from because they're uncomfortable, unpleasant, and sometimes painful. But learning to safely and gently be with this discomfort, be with this pain, allows it to integrate and thus turn into light. Thus the dark is there no longer. So with that introduction, I've been thinking about the patterns, and one that I had for many years. I had two people in my life that I love dearly, and I always said that I would trust my life with them, and I still do. But with all the consciousness work I've done in the past 5 to 6 years, I've had to learn to see that I was giving away my power to these two people who loved to help me, and I was always asking them for help, always asking for their guidance, and always listening. But what I realized over this gradually over the last 5 years, as I've just allowed myself to make decisions on my own, to not ask for guidance or their input as early as I usually would. And these days I find, well, in one case, that person was my mother and she's passed away. So I was unable to ask her anything for the last, more than 5 years. It was a gradual letting go there. But I've realized, that I was not listening to my own inner wisdom. And when I actually thought back, some of the things that had gone wrong in my life was actually because I sought counsel with these people I trusted and chose their choice rather than my own. Now, they always gave me great advice. They were very wise people and I love them dearly. But I'm looking back and going, oh, I recognize I wasn't making the choice from my heart, from my wisdom. And we can never be wise or give completely unbiased counsel to another. I always tell all my clients that you're the boss of you, I'm the boss of me. I can just be a guide and maybe shine some light on something, but you have the inner wisdom that knows what's the best for you. You are your own expert. Sometimes we don't have that great connection to ourselves, and that may have to be developed. But if we can develop our own inner wisdom, our own connection to ourselves, other people will be mirrors and we can help guide our decisions, but we won't allow ourselves to make our decisions from other people. It is a bit like outsourcing. And this by no means is belittling or thinking less of the people that I loved who I asked. In fact, the fact I trusted them for so long, for so many decades, shows just how much I really honor their wisdom. But as I've cultivated a deeper connection to myself, I have been learning to seek my own counsel. And I'm trusting my own inner wisdom. I'm trusting it more and more. At first, often I would ask other people just to check to see how close it was to my own inner wisdom. And these days, I find I don't ask. A couple of times I've noticed lately, I've wanted to pick up the phone. I've wanted to get another's opinion. But I've stopped myself. I allowed myself to sit with the discomfort and allowed myself to make the decision and the choice, even if it ends up being not a great choice or maybe causing problems. Is there a wrong choice, or is there just a learning from that choice? We can never know all the avenues. I do know that if we make choices from fear and decisions from fear, that's we're not open to our inner wisdom, the more fear we let in. So lately, and it's been developing over especially the last 5 to 6 years, I've been sitting more and more with myself, tuning into my own inner wisdom and learning to really trust my own guidance. As I've spoken about before, I'm still aware of this nice control pattern that I'm seeing clearly at times, just how often it likes to come in and try and help. But being aware of that pattern means it's on its way out. It's on its way to being integrated. And I'm grateful for it because it has been truly tremendously helpful. And as I've read lately, that sometimes the most sensitive people will have the strongest defense patterns. And this one has been a very intelligent, strong defense pattern. And I'm very well aware of how sensitive I am and have always been. I used to think of it as a flaw, but everything always has two sides. A flaw is often our greatest strength. We just have to know how to use it and see its potential and possibilities, rather than giving into the negative side where being oversensitive can really create the feeling, overwhelm in our senses. So I've learned to just tune into the senses, learn to tune into the overwhelm and know that it's a pattern, and tune into this little gentle wisdom that's underneath. And I will say it's not always easy to find, because sometimes these tumultuous patterns are very, very seductive and difficult to see beneath. But I still gently sit in safety and peace and watch them. So I've been aware of just how much I've let go of my reliance on asking others and their opinion, and how much more I've been trusting my own inner guidance. And I've been writing and talking about how I'm on this dark night of the soul, which I think I'll call it more like the dark year of the soul. How I've really asked a lot of questions, and life has responded by basically taking everything I held close to me almost away. And the benefit for that is I've noticed that a lot of the stuff that's been taken away were almost like safety nets. Like if I'm thrown in the ocean and I've got, things to hang on to, and I was clinging to those things, which were preventing me from seeing and accessing my own inner wisdom to a higher degree. So I'm appreciative of some of these struggles, even though they haven't been pleasant. And I see how far I've come because I have been seeking my own counsel. Because if I think about it in a bigger picture, if we are all a part of all that is, all part of source energy, we all got equal access, then if I tune into my own inner wisdom, that advice is just as valid, if not more, than everyone's got their own inner wisdom. They've got their own direct connection to source. It only can dilute it if I ask someone else and not the direct connection. There's no harm in talking and asking others, but not as the excuse just to take their path, and so then I don't have the responsibility for my own choices. I then, not because I want to blame someone else's choices. No, I can ask other people for their opinion, for their wisdom, and I can see if it resonates, see if it illuminates anything within me that may create a better choice. Because we all see things differently, and sometimes just by chatting with someone who's not trying to change it for us, not trying to solve it for us, if they're just listening to us and reflecting back and supporting us, giving us space, we can then have access to our own inner wisdom And perhaps they can shine a light on something for us that we can see clearer. And once we see it ourselves, then that's that's the most important thing. Another person cannot make us see it and shine the light on it, but they can be a light, be a mirror, be a reflection. And if it does actually assist us to lift our consciousness and see something at a higher level, to actually see that light ourselves, then that has helped us. It's been a catalyst. And that also is how I do my work. I don't heal anybody or change anybody. Just the clients are willing to change. They're willing to sit with their discomfort. They're willing to see things. And because things are often unconscious, having another person who is giving them space, who has lifted them up in consciousness, can help them to then see their own light much clearer and shine a light into their own darkness. So the therapist is a catalyst. They haven't changed anything, but their presence has contributed to the change. And that's basically my talk for this week, just about how tuning into our own inner wisdom and seeking wise counsel, but not as a reason to ignore our own. Others can be a catalyst or an assist. But when we use their advice and use them to make decisions for us is often when we can get unstuck. That will disconnect us from ourselves. And as one of the theories of trauma is just a disconnection from our higher self, from our true self, our inner wisdom. And as we reconnect to our inner wisdom and our true self, our true essence, our traumas, our patterns, the faulty beliefs, the unprocessed emotions, all the things that have been holding us back that we haven't been aware of can slip away because they've then been integrated into a wholeness. When we've fully reached our lightness, the shadows can't affect us as much. Always finish off with my mindfulness meditation. If you'd like to do that now, I strongly advise you to sit down or lie down because you need to be present, not doing other things at the same time. I just invite you to close your eyes, if that's comfortable, and just place your hand on your heart and take 3 slow breaths, filling up every cell of your body. Just imagine you're breathing in light and love from the universe. Everything that you need to nourish your cells, just breathe it in, fill up every cell, and then just gently breathe out all that you're ready to let go of, all that no longer serves you. I invite you to do 3 slow breaths like this. And I invite you to just notice your body, how it's being supported by the seat, the chair or the sofa or the bed that you're sitting or lying on. Just feel that physical support. Feel your feet on the floor. And if you like, you can imagine roots growing down to the center of the earth to just symbolize your connection to the material world, the earth that sustains us with all the oxygen and water and nutrients that we need. An earth that provides us with a home to live in. Now imagine a cord from the center of your head extending right up to the center of the universe, to the singularity of where everything began, and just plug into that. And just know that you're now connected to all that is, to the universe. Just be aware of your connection to the universe above and the earth below. You are a bridge between the two. And as you just notice your breath, as you breathe in, notice you're breathing in all the energy of the universe into every cell of your body. As you breathe in all this energy and oxygen, chi, quantum information, however you wish to look at it, just know you're mixing the universe with the material. Now I invite you just to scan your body and become aware of any sensations that may be in your body. You may notice areas of numbness and be okay with that. You may feel areas of just neutral sensations. Some areas may feel very pleasant and nice, and yet others may feel unpleasant. Just be aware of what is presently in your awareness, with non-judgment and no attempt to try and change them. Just allow them to be there. Allow your body to communicate to you. Even if you can't feel anything and you're numb, just know that it's okay to feel numb. Maybe that's the safest thing for your body to be able to feel, and that's okay. Just tune in. Tune in to as long as you feel safe and not overwhelmed, just to tune into those sensations. And just step back, give them a bit of space, and just observe them. Be curious about them. What might their benefit be? What might they be trying to tell you about or inform you of? Just be curious and observe. Our body's always trying to communicate to us. We've been trained to not listen, to squash it. So by stopping and pausing and just being curious and non-judgmental, you're allowing all the energies and emotions that have been pushed and squashed down, repressed, not seen, to come up, bubble up to the light of your awareness. This is part of the healing process. So as long as it's not overwhelming, just maintain your curiosity and non-judgment as you observe these sensations. If anything becomes overwhelming, you can just open your eyes, just tune into your feet on the floor or listening to the sounds around you. Tuning into your 5 senses will bring you back to the present moment. That's usually all we need when we get overwhelmed. Overwhelm often is us getting anxious or fearful and being taken out of the present moment. Because right now, we're just sitting or lying, tuning into sensations in the body. We are safe. Now, just take 3 more slow, deep breaths, just filling up every cell in your body. You can even direct it to an area of unpleasant sensation if you like. Just filling up every cell in your body with light and love and information, oxygen, chi energy. As you breathe out, you're letting go and surrendering all that no longer is needed in your body. Now I wish to ask you to just tune into your body and especially imagine what's happening in your heart area. How would it feel in your body if you were this sphere of light? You were your whole self. How would you know you've reached that? What would it feel like? Can you imagine what it would feel like, even just a little bit? Have you ever had a small taste of this, even a moment before in your life? Can you just feel, or attempt to feel, what it would feel like if you were living from this sphere of light of wholeness? Would you feel expansive, free, open? Would you feel peace? Would you feel joy? Would you feel love? How abundant would you feel? And would you feel abundant in all areas of your life? Health and wellness and vitality, finances, support. How clear would be your reception to picking up all the signals from the universe and all that is? Would you be a clear receptor picking up all the love and peace and abundance that was yours? Would you be able to pick up all the guidance and assistance and support that was yours? How would it feel to be safe and supported? Feel into these sensations. Allow your cells to recognize it when it meets it in reality. And now, as we finish this meditation, just invite you to draw your attention back to your feet, to where you're sitting or lying. You can wiggle your hands and toes. Take a couple of slow, deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I just ask you to tune into your body and just see, is there any difference between the beginning and the after effects of this meditation? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel more tension? Has anything changed? Did you have any insights? Anything that became more clear for you? Because as we pause and turn inward, we increase our ability and our receptivity to our inner wisdom. Sometimes that can make us feel light and expansive and joyful, peaceful. Sometimes it'll bring the unconscious, the shadows to the surface. It can be unpleasant. It can be different each time. There's no right or wrong. Just know the wisdom. Our inner wisdom always knows what we need in the moment. And as we become aware of the shadows and able to sit with the unpleasantness, we often then feel lighter and more peaceful as a result afterwards. So for another week, I wish you well, and I will be back next week. Bye for now.